As the morning draws to a close, we've already heard about sort of wonderful benefits. We've been introduced to the Passivhaus standard. We've been introduced to the comfort benefits and how the users are sort of seeing that it's actually a really workable and usable building. We've also seen that it's a suitable building for the UK climate. What we're now talking about is what we see is perhaps the hurdle or perhaps the thing which everyone always asks when you first talk about Passivhaus. You say, okay, so how much extra does it cost? How can we compare this to what we're already building? So we thought we'd have a little bit of fun and present a cost study with a difference.
Yes, we're going to go for a world record and build a couple of houses for you in 10 minutes.
Okay, so the houses are going to look a little bit like this one. These are the Larch and Lime House in Ebervale, and more specifically the Lime House, which is the basis for this study. We should say that this has been certified to the Passivhaus standard. We also have a sort of Code 5 and Code 6, but that's not where we're focusing. The Lime House is going to be basically built in this study. We're going to compare it with a Code 3 house.
Which is the one that I'm going to build. And of course my house is going to cost a lot less than yours.
Well, we'll see about that.
So you better get cracking.
So
we've only got 9 minutes left.
Yeah, that's it. We've been messing around a bit. So we have the former steelworks site here in Ebervale. It's obviously it's quite an extreme microclimate. It's a bit of mist descending there. So we're going to actually take instead an average UK climate. We've used GB Manchester for this, just to get a specification which is more suitable to a kind of an average or the more mild UK climate. So here we have the Code 3 house.
I've excavated my foundation, filled my concrete.
Oh, sorry, hang on, Richard. Well, let's just talk about introduce the house first. I was going to say that we've got the Code 3 house here. We've got the Passivhaus here. The Passivhaus obviously shown in green, a little bit of subliminal messaging there. And the interior of the two houses is the same. We have the same internal volume, the same fixtures, the same fittings. Everything is the same. Everything that changes, everything that we're going to be talking about is outside of this black square. So the external walls, you can already see that there's a couple of differences there with the roof truss. This is what we're going to be focusing on. So we're going to be going through it element by element as per the RICS standard. And this is where Richard is keen to be getting on with his traditional house. So let's go.
So we're putting foundations in and the brickwork and blockwork cavity walls, and get ready with the underfloor ventilation, and there we go.
So whereas I am going with a slab straight on the ground, we've got insulated slab underneath, and basically all I need to do is insulate around the edge of the perimeter and lay an aerated concrete block ready to take the sole plate. So you can see that happening there. Very nice. And the cost of that
my house has cost £3,501 so far.
And mine has taken £1,160. So I'm actually in the lead at the moment.
I'll soon catch up.
Brilliant. Okay, so moving on to the ground floor construction. Richard, sorry?
Yes, all I've got to do is put down my precast beam and block house floor, and then over to you. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to excavate, as I said, just to ready for my concrete slab. I've basically got a sand blinding layer. I've got a reinforced concrete raft, and I just need to tape and put it all together for the damp-proof membrane. Hang on, why have you got weed killer?
Well, that's to stop the weeds growing in my underfloor ventilation.
Ah.
So,
okay. Well,
which helps cool the house down.
Let's leave that one there. Okay, so we've got the ground floor construction here. We'll just see it coming in. We've got the slab, and we've got the screed with the insulation and your weed cavity. Okay, so let's go on for that one. So the cost for that one, my one's cost £6,233. It's taken me 7 days.
And mine's only cost me £3,209 and taken me 3 days.
So okay, well, let's move on. Let's see where we can catch up some. Okay, so we've got the two frames here. What have you got for yours?
I've got an open panel prefabricated frame, so it doesn't have any insulation in it yet because we'll fit that later in the external walls.
Okay, well, whereas my one is quite a nice new sort of off-site construction method. We've got the sort of pre-insulated frames, 140mm stud, exactly the same thickness, but it's been fitted in the factory with insulation, with the internal 80mm OSB and the 9mm panel vent. So when this comes on site, it's all ready to go. One problem, you see the special timber truss rafters. We want to eliminate the thermal bridge around our edge, so we've actually had to create quite an additional structure there. But anyway, you can see these coming up there. That's quite nice. The frame dropping in. The building regs house, you see the same, but with no insulation. Okay, so the cost of that, my one is 14,600. It's taken me 10 days.
And my frame is a bit cheaper, 13,864. I reckon I can put mine up in 10 days as well.
Yeah, all right, fine. So just to highlight, we've got the moment, we're actually quite close. We've got 20,574 for the building regs and 21,994 for the passive house. 23 days and 19 days respectively. Okay, so upper floor, this is a very quick one. All we need to add in is the cost for the insulation between the floor voids. So that's 100 mil, and that's 1 day, £361. Moving on to the roof. Yeah, the same for both houses.
The roof's covered in concrete plain tiles, 150 thick insulation quilt, UPVC rainwater goods, and painted timber fascias and ventilation.
As you can see, my one is actually slightly higher because obviously I've accounted for the extra insulation, which is 3 layers of breathable sort of rock wool insulation, 420 millimeters. We've got 18 mil OSB underneath, and we have the same rainwater goods and the fascia strip. Okay, so you can just see the difference there. So you see the extra, this is why it kind of makes sense now that you need the extra insulation there. Okay, so the roof is 5,212. And that's taken 5 days.
And mine's a bit cheaper, 4,424, 4 days.
Good stuff. Okay, staircase, very quick, let's skip over that one. That's about £524. It's exactly the same in both houses, move on. Okay, so the external walls. Richard, what have you got?
Well, obviously I've got a timber frame without any insulation in, so I've got to put my insulation in that. And then we're cladding it with 80 mil OSB board and vapor barrier. And then on the outside, we've got the half brick thick facing brick skin with a 50 mil cavity.
Okay, whereas I'm going for a nice open breathable fabric. We still have our insulated frame which has come on site. On the inside of that we have a nice sort of Stikeflex. It's a kind of wood wool with sort of a bit of sheep's wool in there as well. It's kind of like a nice breathable, and it's good for the guys on site to handle as well. On the outside we have a wood wool board and a lime render, so all the vapor can go inside and out. We think that's good. But do you think there's going to be a cost premium for the lime render?
Oh, there definitely is, yes. This breathable construction will cost us a bit more. We could do without it in Passivhaus, or are you saying we have to have the breathable construction?
Well, I don't know. That's not for me to say, but that's what we think. Okay, external walls. So you can see here the masonry masonry leaf is going up on the outside there. We've got the insulation on the inside, which also, I should say, it's 100 mil, so that doubles as your service zone. And you have your air tightness layer behind it so that if anyone drills through, they don't puncture it, which is brilliant. Okay, so the cost for that is £11,336. It's taken 7 days.
And I'm £7,785. It's taken me 5 days.
So actually, we're not that far off at the moment, are we?
Well, maybe, but let's see what happens when you put those expensive imported windows in.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so moving on, we do have the expensive external windows we're talking about here. My ones are triple glazed, Passivhaus certified windows. They don't have to be certified. I should make a note of that. But this is the one that we've been importing, and basically this has got air tightness membranes which connect it to the fabric, ensuring that you have a continuous seal between the two and that you're not wasting all of the money. So okay, yeah, I'm spending a little bit more, but I'm putting it to good use. And you know, when that's facing south, more energy is going in that way than it is going out that way over the year. So you know, I bet you can't say the same.
No. All we've got is a standard painted double glazed softwood window, and of course we've also got to put a galvanised steel lintel over the top to hold up all that brickwork we put around the outside.
Okay, well we've just gone for a nice little touch at the end. We've got a sort of galvanised zinc sill at the end. Just, I mean, you don't need it so much on this particular construction, but if your walls are getting quite thick for retrofit, then we tend to use it a lot, and we think it looks a little bit nicer as well. But again, not strictly necessary for that one. Okay, so the windows, external doors, you can hardly see this one, but it's definitely happened. So the cost for that, £16,451. It's taken 6 days.
And we're only £11,241. It's taken 4 days.
Yeah, so you can see there is a bit of cost there, but bear in mind that at the moment these houses are being built in one-off small numbers. If we can get houses built in sort of mass volumes, if you can say to a manufacturer of windows, hang on, we're going to be building 1,000 of these houses, someone's going to invest, set up a factory here, it's not going to be long before the price goes down a bit. But this is a supply chain issue at the moment. This is something which we're hoping we'll be able to reduce this. So maybe a couple of years' time we'll come back and do it again. Anyway, so the heat source. How are you heating your house?
We've just got a gas boiler and domestic gas boiler. Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is interesting. I mean, this is something that we were just talking about. We were just saying about the fact that the maintenance team. Sorry, not that we were talking about. That John was talking about. The fact that you can't get a gas boiler that's the right size, or you can, but it's going to cost you about,
It costs more than the standard size one, so there's not much point putting in the smaller one if you can buy the ordinary one cheaper. Obviously, if we were producing more smaller boilers, the cost of those would come down.
And then they'll be
a problem.
then they'll be working efficiently as well, rather than having the constant on-off cycle. No one wants that. But anyway, just to say that the heat source for the passive house, on the very cold days, if it is in Ebervale or wherever else it is, just to get to the heat load of 10 watts, that's referring to the little bit of extra heat that we're going to put into the heat recovery system, which is done with a post-heater battery, which is essentially a water jacket going around the internal airstream. So that comes from the boiler.
And that's why your house is 1,375 for your heating, and mine's only 770 because of your heater jacket.
Yeah, it's a little bit more, but that's nice. So it's a nice warm heater jacket for the air. Okay, but going on to the space heating circuit, you have a wet radiator
system. Yes, I've got
system.
Radiators and a wet system to heat all the rooms. Presumably that's the same as you've got?
No, I have nothing.
What?
Nothing.
How do you do that?
Well, as I said, if we do need a little bit of extra heat, we put it in with the sort of the heated jacket, so it comes through the air. The system's already there, so we're not paying any extra for it. And plus, we've got somewhere to put all our sofas, and you're going to get stuck with your furniture layouts and that kind of thing. But I suppose you're a quantity surveyor, you wouldn't care about that sort of thing. Okay, right. So moving on, you got the ventilation. What are you doing? How are you keeping your house ventilated? How are you doing?
Well, we just needed extract fans in the bathroom, WC, and an extract hood in the kitchen. Okay,
so you're going to take the heat in your house, and then you're just going to sort of throw it out through the wall.
Well, I suppose so. Yes. Mm.
Okay, well, that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an MVHR system. At the moment, this is I shouldn't. There are many other brands of MVHR system, but the one we used here is a very highly efficient system. It's basically recovering all of the heat. It's providing the air sort of exchange that you need to keep the residents comfortable and happy, but it's not throwing heat out the wall with it. So again, this is something. I mean, maybe we'll never be able to get quite as good as a sort of European German standard, but this is something that this is a challenge, isn't it? To say, can we do as good as this? Okay, so the cost of this, 6,397, 4 days.
1,082 for the extract fans and a couple of days to install them.
Okay, so the last thing we've got to do is add in...
the preliminaries costs are dependent on the builder and the site location and the conditions. And overheads and profit are dependent on the number of houses you're building and the builder's margins. So we've left them out of this study because they could be so different. So as you can see, I've won by £13,000.
Oh. Okay, well, all I was going to add in was that we've had to just add a little bit for the mains electrical connection and the builder's work, and that's what's bringing us to the final figure. But yeah, okay, you've won. I'll give you that. But it's the difference is only 15%, and you have to bear in mind that we're not comparing like for like. My house is going to perform so much better than your house. It's going to be warmer. It's going to be more comfortable. It's going to be better to live in. And anyway, let's just sum up, shall we? So we've seen basically a study on two costs: one for a code level 3 house, one for a passive house, and we've seen that there is a little bit of a difference, about 15% in this case, or £13,000. But the passive house uses 8 times less energy. It's got optimum comfort levels, and it's fully breathable. And the other thing to bear in mind is the code 3 is at the moment. I mean, what happens when we need to build to code level 4? This is not far away. The passive house will already meet that. So what's going to be the cost then? There's not much of a difference in there. Surely it's worth it. Anyway, so just as a final, and with apologies to Terry Gilliam, we need to make a choice here. So go with that one. So thank you very much. I was just going to say. Okay, so but just to go back to a serious note, we are really interested in this. We've spent a lot of time working through these costs, trying to understand where the differences are, where we can make savings, where we can make efficiencies. And so we're with a group of other sort of organisations, housing associations, residential social landlords and their teams. There's the Passive House Cost Project is starting, and this is going to be a forum, if you like, for everyone to come together and say, okay, look, these are our costs, this is what we've found, this is where the problems are, this is how we're going to move forward. So it's going to be about establishing a protocol, saying, okay, did you include prelims? Did you include, your meters squared, your fixtures, your fittings? Let's all get together and compare these costs on a like-for-like basis and see. Someone might say, oh, well, hang on, I can get those boilers. We've got a factory that makes them. I don't know, maybe that's a little bit simplistic, but putting people together, the knowledge transfer, that's the best way of driving down costs, and we really believe that that's the way forward. So if you are interested in this, Justin should be walking around with a rather sort of conspicuous orange Passive House conference bag from 2007. So if you see him, he's got a... No, he doesn't have it. Maybe someone has it, but we do have some leaflets on that if everyone's interested. And finally, a plug for tomorrow. There's a study, because we've only been looking at capital costs today. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at the payback. So taking that £13,000 difference and saying, okay, well, what happens if you add a little bit of net present value and a little bit of PHPP energy calculation into it? So this is going to be tomorrow. So anyway, thank you. We've probably run over slightly, but yeah, that's us.